In the universe, there is a planet named Goddess of Vengeance. Although the name sounds elegant, it is in fact a supermax prison with the highest level of security, imprisoning the most vicious and evil individuals in the world. Anyone picked randomly could be charged with multiple crimes. There are no cells or guards in this prison. Survival is entirely dependent on one's own abilities. Originally, there were 5,000 men imprisoned here, but now only 25 remain. One day, a woman suddenly arrives on the planet, and while people thought she was a gift from heaven, her arrival instead brings about a disastrous calamity. In the previous film, the protagonist, Ripley, led a Marine Corps team to the planet LV-426 to rescue colonists trapped there, only to be ambushed by hundreds of aliens. In the end, only Ripley, the commander, a young girl named Newt, and the nearly scrapped synthetic person, Bishop, managed to escape. They had just entered cryosleep when noises in the ship indicated that a facehugger was present. At the start of the film, the facehugger attacks the survivors, damages the sleep pods, causing a fire in the cryochamber, and the central control system immediately initiates an escape procedure, ejecting the escape pod, which happens to crash on the Goddess of Vengeance planet. Clemens, the only doctor in the prison, discovers the escape pod and the barely alive Ripley, whom he immediately takes back to base and instructs his colleagues to check the ship for other survivors. However, the news is not optimistic. Except for Ripley, everyone else died, including the 10-year-old girl, Newt. The prison warden quickly reports the find to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and the company instructs him to do everything possible to save Ripley, with a rescue team scheduled to arrive in a week. On this planet, enveloped in darkness and silence, the sight of a woman could inevitably stir sinful thoughts. So the warden instructs the doctor to tell Ripley to stay in the medical room until the rescue team arrives. After receiving meticulous care from the doctor, Ripley soon wakes up. She learns from the doctor about the crash of the escape pod, which under normal circumstances, would not have ejected so easily. She needs to clarify the cause of the accident. The wreckage of the escape pod has been salvaged, and according to the doctor, the little girl drowned in the cryochamber. But Ripley feels that the situation is not so simple, because she discovers signs of corrosion on Newt's cryopod, a kind of corrosion that only alien blood could cause. Could it be that the alien attacked the spaceship? Later, they go to the morgue, where the girl's body shows no external signs of anomalies. But Ripley insists on performing an autopsy because she fears that the alien might have laid eggs inside the girl, although the doctor doesn't understand her reasons. Since she insists so firmly, he complies. The girl's chest and abdominal cavities are very clean, showing no signs of infection. But Ripley still does not give up. They must cremate the girl's body as soon as possible. The doctor is not foolish. From Ripley's reaction, it is clear that she is looking for something. Since she refuses to say, he does not continue to ask. The Goddess of Vengeance planet was once a mine, and there is a huge furnace in the middle of the base. The warden gathers everyone here, and in their prayers, they cremate the girl's body. On the other side, two men lift a dead cow to the slaughterhouse, then hurry to attend the cremation ceremony. However, before they leave, they discover the corpse of a facehugger on the transport vehicle. The two men have never seen such a creature and thus do not pay much attention to it. Shortly after their departure, an alien bursts from the cow's carcass. Initially, people use the cow to pull the escape pod back, and the facehugger must have attached to the cow during that time. In the evening, Ripley goes to the dining hall to eat. This action infuriates the warden, who had warned Ripley not to appear in front of people. But now whatever he says is too late, as unrest has already begun among the inmates. After dinner, Ripley chats with the doctor, who is curious about the events of the day, wanting to know what exactly Ripley was looking for on the girl. Ripley doesn't answer him but shifts the topic to relationships between men and women, perhaps seeking support or genuinely having feelings for the doctor, and they become involved that night. Meanwhile, a man cleaning the pipes accidentally finds a piece of skin shed by some creature. Just as he is mesmerized by it, an alien hiding at the bottom of the pipe suddenly sprays him with a stream of acid. The man loses his balance and falls into a huge fan nearby, instantly turning into minced meat. The next day, the doctor receives a notification and rushes to the scene. Everyone thinks it was an accident, as more than one person has nearly fallen into the fan before. But the doctor finds something else. There is a corroded spot in the pipe, similar to the scene he saw in the escape pod yesterday. He finds Ripley to inquire about these marks. Before they can understand the whole story, Ripley retrieves the flight recorder from the escape pod, hoping to restore the course of events from the information inside, but she needs a computer with voice capabilities to decode the content in the recorder. The equipment in the prison is very primitive, and Ripley's only hope is to find Bishop's remains, using his voice function to help her translate. The doctor originally wanted to accompany her, but the warden called him away at the last moment. The company had just issued new instructions, placing Ripley's protection as the highest priority. The warden warns the doctor not to let Ripley wander around. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, no one could answer for it. Meanwhile, Ripley finds Bishop's remains in a junkyard, but just as she is about to leave, a group of men suddenly appears and surrounds her. Just as they prepare to vent their animalistic desires, Dylan arrives in time and beats these men severely. Dylan is the spiritual leader of the prison, and he does not allow such behaviors. The scene shifts to the underground tunnels, where 3 inmates are conducting routine checks. Accidentally, they discover that a candle deep in the tunnel has been extinguished. Thinking it is someone's prank, they proceed with torches to investigate. As expected, the 3 men are attacked by an alien, and only Greg, one of them, survives. Greg is a severe mental patient, and when people see him covered in blood, they think he has killed his teammates, but Greg claims that what attacked them was a dragon. At this time, Ripley connects the flight recorder to Bishop's brain, which regains brief consciousness after being powered up. From the information in the recorder, it is clear that it was the alien's corrosive blood that caused the fire in the cryochamber. Ripley asks him whether the alien stayed on the main ship or crashed with them. Bishop indicates that the alien has been with them all along, and all the events on the ship were entered into the computer and sent back to the Alien³ Corporation. After everything is clarified, Ripley finds the warden and tells him all the causes and consequences. It is a bloodthirsty monster. Its only purpose is to kill. Ripley's words do not make the warden take her seriously. Although this is a high-security prison, they are unarmed and unable to contend with such a creature. Now, the only thing to do is to wait for the rescue team to arrive and then use their weapons to eliminate the alien. Then, Ripley is locked in the medical room, and the idle doctor accompanies her to chat. Just at this moment, the alien suddenly appears and kills the doctor. Ripley is also cornered by the monster, but unexpectedly, the alien does not harm her. Now, it is dinner time. The narrowly escaped Ripley hurries to the cafeteria, but before she can explain the course of events, the alien suddenly appears and drags the warden away. Everyone present sees this scene, and without needing much explanation, they realize the existence of the monster. With the warden and doctor both dead, the people fall into a leaderless state. At this time, everyone starts to elect Ripley as the commander because only she understands the alien. Without weapons, people can only take advantage of the terrain. After some searching, they discover a warehouse for storing nuclear waste. The warehouse has only one exit, and the iron door alone is 2 meters thick. If they can lure the monster inside, it absolutely cannot escape. To achieve this, people start to smear paint in various passages, a highly flammable material. They plan to use an explosion to drive the alien into the warehouse. People here usually have the habit of smoking, and they do not make an exception even while working. Just as a member had just lit a cigarette, the alien suddenly appeared and attacked him. The cigarette fell on the paint, causing a chain reaction. Many people had not yet managed to evacuate and were buried in the fire. To avoid the explosion, both people and the alien all came to the warehouse door. If the alien launches an attack, it is very likely that everyone will be annihilated. At this time, a man yells to attract the alien into the warehouse, and Ripley quickly closes the door. Listening to the painful screams from inside the warehouse, everyone's mood is extremely heavy. At this moment, they are no longer criminals, but comrades in arms fighting side by side. After the disaster passes, everything returns to calm. Only Greg is still tightly bound in the room, begging his teammates, since the monster has been captured, proving that those 2 people were not killed by him. Can he be released? His teammates think it over and agree that Greg has a point, but just as he unties Greg's ropes, he is knocked unconscious by Greg. Then, Greg goes to the warehouse door. He kills the guard with a knife and then opens the warehouse door. Greg is a severe mental patient, and in his eyes, the alien is not a monster but a dragon that can answer questions. As expected, Greg is killed as soon as he walks in, and the alien escapes from the warehouse. On the other side, Ripley reports the progress of the events to the Alien³ Corporation, but the company's response is that they do not allow the killing of the alien. Everything should wait until the rescue team arrives. Actually, Ripley had already guessed that the company would say this. Their purpose is to bring the alien back for research. Just at this time, people discover that the alien has escaped. Everyone starts to panic. They had sacrificed more than half of their lives to capture it, but now it has been easily released by Greg. People begin to focus their attention on Ripley, asking her what the next step is. But Ripley's complexion is very poor. Recently, she has always felt that something is wrong with her body, but she cannot say exactly what is not right. Thus, she goes to the escape pod and uses the equipment inside to scan her body. However, the scan results shock her. It turns out that there is also an alien inside Ripley's body, and from its form, it is very likely an alien queen. Ripley finally understands why the alien did not harm her. Because her body is nurturing a new queen. Ripley tells this to Dylan, asking him to kill her, because once the alien queen is born, the entire world will be devastated. Dylan says that he will kill Ripley, but now is not the time. They must first eliminate the one that is still alive. Then, Dylan gathers the survivors in the hull, asking them to assist him in eliminating the alien. But the morale of the people is not high. The rescue team will arrive in 2 hours, and even if they need to charge into battle, they should at least have weapons. Ripley says, the company will never kill the alien. On the contrary, they might even kill you to silence you. When the alien first appeared, the company could abandon the crew members, and the Marine Corps sent the second time could also be sacrificed. In the eyes of the company, you death row inmates are even less valuable. Rather than kneeling and begging for mercy later, it is better to stand up and resist now. Everyone is inspired by Ripley's fighting spirit, and they join her side. There is a foundry in the base, and inside there are many large molds. If they can lure the alien into the mold and then pour scalding hot lead into it, they can kill it. The entire foundry is complex, with hundreds of pneumatic doors. They must lure the alien to the main conduit and then use the piston in the main conduit to push it into the mold. The so-called lure is to use people to attract the alien, a task with an imaginable level of danger. In addition, these pneumatic doors have not been started in 6 or 7 years, and some of them have already started to jam. What was originally a plan to capture the alien ultimately transformed into a large-scale alien hunting scene. Fortunately, the sacrifices of the teammates were not in vain. Ripley and Dylan successfully lure the alien into the mold. According to the plan, before the hot lead is poured, the two have a few seconds to escape. But they overlooked one point: the alien will not obediently stay there waiting to die. To hold it back, Dylan chooses to sacrifice himself, and with the activation of the mechanism, both he and the alien are submerged in the scalding hot lead. Before people can rejoice, the alien suddenly jumps out of the mold. Its body structure has already far exceeded human understanding, and the hot lead simply cannot harm it. At that moment, a teammate has a good idea: the alien's body must be extremely hot now, and if they pour water on it, they should be able to eliminate it. Ripley seems to realize this as well, and she pulls the switch of the sprinkler. The scorching body comes into contact with the cold water, causing the alien to instantly explode. After the fierce battle, Ripley is physically and mentally exhausted, and before she has time to catch her breath, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation's rescue team arrives. The person leading them looks exactly like Bishop, and she thought he was a synthetic like Bishop. But the man says that he is human and that Bishop was created by him. They have brought the best doctors, who can separate the alien from Ripley's body, and he promises not to bring the alien back to Earth. But Ripley does not believe him. If the alien queen is born, the consequences are unimaginable. Rather than dying from the monster bursting out of her chest, she prefers to end it herself. In the final moment of the film, Ripley leaps into the furnace, and the alien disappears from this world forever.